going to do a short vlog about the snow of Kilimanjaro by Ernest Hemingway.
Author's biography. Ernest Hemingway, in full Ernest Miller Hemingway, was born on July 21, 1899, at Illinois, USA. He died on July 2, 1961, at Ketchum, Idaho. He is an American novelist and short story writer, awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1954. He was noted both for the intense masculinity of his writing and for his adventurous and widely publicized life. His succinct and lucid prose style exerted a powerful influence on American and British fiction in the 20th century. Here's some of his notable works. A Farewell to Arms, The Sun Also Rises, The Old Man and the Sea, For Whom the Bell Tolls, The Short Happy Life of Francis Macomber, A Clean Well-Lighted Place, Hills Like White Elephants, The Snow of Kilimanjaro, To Have and Have Not, A Movable Feast. And some of his awards and honors are Nobel Prize 1954 and Pulitzer Prize 1953. The writing of books occupied Hemingway for most of the post-war years. He remained based in Paris, but he traveled widely for skiing, bullfighting, fishing, and hunting that by then had become part of his life and formed the background for much of his writing. His position as a master of short fiction has been advanced by Men Without Women in 1927, and thoroughly established with his stories in Winner Take Nothing in 1933. Among his finest stories are The Killers, The Short Happy Life of Francis Macomber, and The Snows of Kilimanjaro. The summary of the story. Harry, a writer, and his wife, Helen, are stranded while on safari in Africa. A bearing burned out on their truck, and Harry is talking about gangrene that has infected his leg when he did not apply iodine after he scratched it. As they wait for a rescue plane from Nairobi that he knows won't arrive on time, Harry spends his time drinking and insulting Helen. Harry reviews his life, realizing that he wasted his talent through procrastinations and luxury from a marriage to a wealthy woman that he doesn't love. In a series of flashbacks, Harry recalls the mountains of Bulgaria and Constantinople, as well as the suddenly hollow, sick feelings of being alone in Paris. Later, there were Turks and an American poet talking nonsense about the Dada movements, and headaches and quarrels, and watching people whom he would later write about. Uneasily, he recalls a man who had been frozen, his body half eaten by dogs, and a wounded officer so entangled in a wire fence that his bowels spilled over it. As Harry lies on his coat, he is aware that vultures are walking around his makeshift camp, and a hyena lurks in the shadows. Knowing that he will die before he wakes, Harry goes to sleep and dreams that a rescue plane is taking him to the snow-covered summit of Kilimanjaro, the highest mountain in Africa. Its western summit is called the Maasai Ngaji Ngai, the House of God, which sees the legendary leopard. Helen wakes and, taking a flashlight, walks toward Harry's coat. Seeing that his leg is dangling alongside the coat and that the dressings are pulled down, she calls his name repeatedly. She listens for his breathing and can hear nothing. Outside the tent, the hyena whines, a cry that is strangely human. The analysis of the story. Hemingway opens his story with an epigraph, a short, pithy observation about a lone leopard who sought the tip of Kilimanjaro. The African safari was Harry's attempt to put his life back on track. Harry, the central character, has been living a life of sloth, luxury, and procrastination, so the safari was supposed to bring him back to the virtues of hard work, honesty, and struggle as a step in the right direction. Living off of his wife's wealth has led him down a path of steady, artistic decline, and he knows it. Also interesting to note is that both Harry and Hemingway were of the lost generation of World War One, who had to rebuild their lives after being wounded in combat and seeing the horrors of war. This particular work, some have asserted, seems to reflect both Harry's and Hemingway's concern about leaving unfinished business behind as a writer and the proper lifestyle for a writer that is conducive to writing on a daily basis. Hemingway was quoted as saying once that politics, women, drink, money, and ambition rules writers. Concerning the structure of the story, note that Hemingway divides it into 6 sections, and within each of these sections inserts a flashback that appears in italic, continually juxtaposing the hopeless, harrowing present with a past which often seemed full of promise. The flashbacks themselves centered on concerns about the erosion of values, lost love, loose sex, drinking, revenge, and war. They are a mix of hedonism, sentimentally toward the human condition, and leaving unfinished business. Here in this story, the symbolism of Kilimanjaro is contrasted with the symbolism of the plains. Harry is dying in the plains from gangrene, a stinking, putrid, and deadly infection, causing his body to rot and turning greenish black. Against Harry's background of dark, smelly, horror and helplessness. Hemingway contrasts Harry's memory of the good times that he had in the mountains. Good things happen in the mountains, bad things happen on the plains. Hemingway ends his story with Harry's spiritual triumphant, as when Harry dies, his spirit is released and travels to the summit of the mighty mountain, where the square top of Kilimanjaro is wide as all the world. It is incredibly white as it shines dazzlingly in the sunlight. The mountain is brilliant, covered with pure white snow. It is incredibly clean, a clean, well-lighted place.
Character Harry. Harry is an American writer who has spent his recent year married to various rich women in order to live a life of luxury. Stranded while on safari in Africa with his current wife Helen. Helen. Helen is Harry's wife, a wealthy woman who liked to drink, shot, and make love. His first husband's dead while she was relatively young. Strangely, the very the white of this lost, she turned to Captain or Campe turned out to the character in Harry's deathbed hallucinations, as he never left his cot by Helen's side at the camp. A friend of Harry and Helen, Harry imagined Campe flying. Minor characters Molo, an African servant's boy provided on the safari strip. He helped change the designs on Harry infected legs, serves drinks and helped move Harry cut. Climax. The different climax of the snow of Kilimanjaro, short of coinciding with Harry finally noticing that his wife loved him, is when a hyena wanders into a camp in the middle of the night. It's the happy Hollywood ending, with Harry finally over his dead ex and alive to appreciate the life he was with his wife. Theme. Death is a major theme in Ernest Hemingway's short story The Snow of Kilimanjaro, and it appears in several different forms, directly and indirectly. The most obvious reference to death is the injury of the protagonist Harry and the way he's realized that he has little time left to live.